What up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and boy, was it today. I made it my mission to help you guys own it, and it has been absolutely wild. Super volatile day yet again. We saw the S&P go up over 2% at one point today, and it is sitting down as soon as my page refreshes. I always hit refresh right before I say anything because I always want to give you the up-to-date. Here we go. It's up over 1%, at 1.04%. So about half of its gains today made are still intact. The Dow's up 153 points. NASDAQ, though, the big winner, up 1.5%. As I'd mentioned this morning, tech was going to absolutely rip. I think it's going to continue to rip, so no surprise there. Russell 2000 also up over 1%, also not shocking, even though that is well off of its highs. The big shocker here was crude oil was down 4.5%, largely due to what happened between Russia and the U.S. A Russian fighter jet actually collided into a drone, a U.S. drone over the Black Sea. So we're going to talk about that, if it actually matters, and what you need to know as far as your money is concerned. Up in a little bit. Bitcoin is also drastically down from where it was. It was up at around 26,000, now only sitting at 24,600. So really volatile day in the markets overall. You can point your finger at whatever you want, but that is what's happening. And yeah, listen, guys, it's been a crazy day. AMC approved a 1-for-10 reverse split, as well as more shares to be authorized to be issued. We're going to get into that in just a moment. But let me shout out my starting five. Kevin Hawthorne, what's going on? Gabe, Snookeroo, Shane Haley. What's up, bro? What's up, Shane? Savvy Money Show, you guys are our starting five. If you missed the starting five, it could be because you hadn't hit that subscribe or notification bell. I go live Monday through Thursday in the afternoons and Monday through Friday in the mornings. You're not going to want to miss it. This show is really ramping up. I'm having a lot of fun. You guys are the best. And we're getting into the slower period. You guys might be used to me just covering earnings, but we're now towards the end, if not the end, of earnings season. There will be some earnings here popping up that'll be worth talking about, but for the most part, earnings season's over, which I think allows me to be a little bit more creative with you guys. Like, how can we improve the show? And I talked to you about this a little bit last week. I'm going to come up with some more bits. You guys have seen the birthdays in the mornings, the weird news. Like, there's got to be something in the afternoon that we can cover as well to just kind of better structure the afternoon show. We're going to get there. I'm super pumped about it, and it should be a lot of fun. So, that being said, just checking in on some of the other comments here. I put in a poll today. Listen, guys, just not stock related, but the NFL has been on absolute fire right now. Obviously, I'm a disgruntled Ravens fan because Lamar Jackson needs a goddamn agent, and he just refuses to see it. I don't know who turns down $133 million guaranteed and basically $200 million guaranteed if you don't get injured. Like, that's literally what he turned down, and he just doesn't get it. But anyways, nevertheless, I asked you guys in a poll, are you happy with your team so far? 46% of you say yes, 38% say no, and 15% say I don't want to talk about it. You might be a Raiders fan. Lord Fenrir is a Bears fan, says, hell yeah, Bears are getting lines put together finally. Bro, the Bears broke off the Panthers on that trade deal. Broke them off. I don't know what the Panthers were thinking, but they gave away way too much to the Bears. Yes, I would agree. The Bears are set up to do well if they draft well. And, you know, DJ Moore's no slouch either. He's a stud. So that's great for the Bears. I think the Bears are going to be in contention, especially if Aaron Rodgers finally does go to the Jets, which it looks like he's going to. But, yeah, could be exciting up there in the NFC North. Falcons beefing up the defense. Yeah, and then they signed Taylor Heineke, right? Chris Edwards says, I love Lamar and I hope he's here, but he's going to be traded. I do too, Chris. That's the shame of it. It's just like he's not getting it. Either he or his mom's not getting it. And this is why this guy needs an agent. He's a generational talent, probably arguably one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league, period. But you can't just go in there and request top dollar. You can't go in there and request Deshaun Watson money when you haven't finished the last 2 seasons, right? Yeah, I get you're an MVP in 2019. And yeah, you do have a shit ton of accolades behind your name. You're 45-16 in the regular season. Like, nobody else has that other than Patrick Mahomes right now, right? So those are all great numbers, but you still haven't finished seasons, 2 in a row that you haven't finished. And so, like, what are the Ravens supposed to do? Yeah, here's all this money, and we hope that you don't get hurt. And that's the part, that's the shame of it, is that Lamar's not seeing the business side of things. And it sucks. It sucks to see that. I don't think the Ravens are in the wrong at all here. I think that they made a more than fair offer, and it seems to be evident compared to, given the fact that nobody else is making him offers either, especially if he's asking for that kind of money, and they're going to have to give up 2 firsts as well. But man, Alex Ramirez says Cam Newton all over again. I don't know about that, but it's certainly, I can see where you would see that. Not quite a Cam Newton thing. Cam Newton was way past his prime. What already sucked before everybody gave him, overhyped him. Tons of injuries, right? So, Dougie Nah says, any PPI predictions for tomorrow? Yeah, we can get into that later in the show as well. Just giving it some time for people to roll in here. So I figured I'd just have a little back and forth with you guys. I kind of figured it was going to be a slower day today just because there's no earnings. And like I said, this is a time I think that we can have some fun. And yeah, we'll just kind of see what happens. Just looking through some stuff here. We can go ahead and get into the AMC chat. I'm kind of surprised that I was expecting low numbers, but not this low. Let me just double check earnings as well. I don't think there's anything really that we're going to be looking at today as far as earnings, unless you guys really curious about Sentinel One or Lennar. I will be happy to look at those, but I don't think that there's a whole lot happening here. So we'll see. And really this week, there isn't much happening this week either. So that's the bummer. That's the bummer. It's what's going to kind of keep things a little slow. Tomorrow's going to be, we have Adobe tomorrow. So that's something. UiPath tomorrow as well. And then Thursday it'll be FedEx, and that's Dollar General in the morning. That's going to be kind of it. That's going to be our earnings for the week. So it'll be a bit slow, but that's all good. Commanders might get Lamar. If the Commanders, yeah, what's his name? What's the owner's name? Dennis. If he wants to give a big FU to the NFL, he would do that. I don't see that happening. That would be surprising. Okay. All right, let's get into some of the AMC conversation. So, AMC guys, actually, you don't need to see that. AMC. This part has been super hilarious to me. So here's the news. I'll just give you the rundown, and then I'm going to break down why I think this is the worst decision that the shareholders could have made in history. And this just goes to prove how dumb they all are. AMC Entertainment investors are said to have approved a 1-for-10 reverse stock split and plans to increase the total number of shares at a Tuesday special meeting. And let me pause there real quick because I feel like I came in hot. Dumb's probably not the appropriate word, although for some of you it might be. But ignorant certainly is an appropriate word here. The approval is a step to enable the theater chain to convert recently issued series of preferred shares, the APE ticker, into common stock, and that's according to Bloomberg. The Allegheny County Employees Retirement System had filed a class action complaint in Delaware's Court of Chancery against AMC and its board members, seeking a temporary restraining order against the March 14th conversion vote. The plaintiffs accused AMC and its board with violating Delaware general corporation law and breaching fiduciary duties. Good on them. The injunction, but it didn't matter. The injunction hearing was set for April 27th, and the March 14th vote on the conversion was allowed to take place. AMC will have the flexibility, this is key, AMC will have the flexibility to issue new stock and exchange debt for shares or make acquisitions, which they will not do, pending the outcome of the injunction hearing. Now, let me break this down for you. We're looking at AMC right now, and it is down. Shocker. But not only that, so is APE. So here's the 5-minute on AMC. Obviously, you can see that's down 16%. Ape is also down now 5%. You saw this huge spike. Everybody thought that this was exciting. It was great news, blah, blah, blah. Let me go find some popcorn at Walmart to celebrate. Well, let me tell you something. You're going to have to save all those empty bags of popcorn that you buy from Walmart and fill them with some goddamn shares, because that's what's coming for anybody who continues to hold on to AMC or Ape, period. They're going to do a 1-for-10 reverse stock split so they can avoid getting delisted, because what's going to happen here very shortly is that Adam Aron is going to convert shares for money to pay off debt. And the only person that fucks over is you, the investor. All of your shares, the value of your stock is going to the toilet. And the only reason that reverse split is going in place is so that the stock price can be up at a level where they won't get delisted and they can continue diluting the stock. So not only is it trading right now, Ape at $1.64, you got AMC trading at $4.61, 1-for-10 split as of the close today would be about $46. So they're going to continue to convert shares, and it's going to continue to plummet, guys. This isn't great news for AMC holders. The mother of all short squeezes is going to take a hell of a lot more buying power now, and it's done. It's never happening. It's never fucking happening again for AMC, period. End rant. You have to understand what dilution actually means, and that's what this is. The issuance of shares means that there's more shares going into the stock, which means that there's going to be a need for even more buying power to get this thing moving. You know, back in the penny stock days, we used to call those things pigs because they were fat as hell, and it took a shit ton of shares to move anything. And that's what's going to happen with AMC. That's why they needed to do a reverse split. That's why they're going to issue shares. This whole notion about Ape being preferred shares and now it's going to be converted into common stock was just a ploy to get all of you to buy it, for those of you who bought it. I mean, there's nothing good about this. And then the crazy part is that investors voted for this. Voted for it. They wanted this to happen because they thought it was a good idea. 80%, I think it was 80 or 90% voted in favor of this. It's just so frustrating because, like, there's a ton of people out there. I mean, a Netflix show was created from this bullshit. And there's so many people out there that just don't get it. They just, for whatever reason, want to try to stick it to the man rather than bettering themselves. Yeah, I knew I was gonna get some AMC diehard in here. It's not institution investors. Retail investors had an opportunity to vote on this too. If you had Ape shares, you had an opportunity to vote on it. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You got screwed. Everybody who was excited about Ape, and I talked about this when Ape came around, that this was all bullshit, that people were excited over nothing. Dynamic Crypto, what would be AMC's only hope? That people got excited about going to the movies again. That would be one. And that they actually reversed all of the things that they voted into play right now. Lord Fenner says it was a meme stock, for fuck's sake. I'm telling you, man, I understand that. But you should see the comments that I get when I talk shit about this stock. Like, people are so obsessed with this company, it's insane. And then Adam Aron has the audacity to go out and tweet about how this is for the greater good of the company and its shareholders and all this other stuff, and keep fighting the good fight. What are you talking about, bro? Is that why your stock's down 15% today? Because you're fighting a good fight? Fuck out of here. Anyways, that was my rant for today on AMC. I'm just so sick of this stock. It just needs to go out of business. And if that means that, like, I'm a shill, or I am part of the, I don't know, whatever, conglomerate from the institution, so fucking be it. Like, so be it. Because this is just common sense, man. Savvy Money Show says, but at least they have diamond hands. Yeah, that's all they got. Anyone still preaching AMC still trades on Robin? That's all you need to know. Yeah, no shit, says Lord Fenrir. We'll get into a couple of other things. I just had to go off on that because I'm just so sick of it, man. Like, it's just so bad. It's so bad for the retail people. Like, this is why they call us dumb money, you know? Like, you're just playing into the hands of the institutions that we don't like, right? That call us dumb money. Like, it's literally the definition of. And this channel tries to get people to not be so dumb. That's why it exists. AMC is just like the OTC markets, reverse split, rinse and repeat. That's probably what's going to happen because AMC's got billions in debt that they need to take care of. And the only reason that they're going to be able to move it is by selling shares at this point. It's certainly not going to be from sales, you know? If we look at, where was I going? Oh, Aurora Cannabis is a perfect example of this, right? Not on the same scale, not a meme stock whatsoever, but people were crazy about Aurora Cannabis. And for those of you who traded during the weed craze, you'll know what I'm getting at here. Aurora Cannabis people went absolutely apeshit. You can see the stock was at $150 a share at one point back in 2018. Okay. They couldn't make enough money revenue-wise to support their efforts. So the only way that they could do that was to sell shares and dilute the stock. Well, they did that, and they diluted the shit out of it. You can see what happened. And then they got below $1 per share. And Aurora Cannabis is in danger of being delisted, by the way, again. And so what they're going to have to do is reverse split again so they can continue to dilute shares again. And the only person it screws over is you. The only person it screws over is you. Company still gets to survive. Adam Aaron still gets to live in his big ass house and do whatever the hell he wants. But this is what AMC is looking forward to right now. This is what you AMC holders have to look forward to. This is Aurora Cannabis. This will be your life as an AMC holder moving forward. Just is what it is. Don said, pretty soon I'll be saying there's over 5K stocks to pick from, not 6. Yeah. Yeah, no shit. Dynamic Crypto, if time permits, could you give more insight on SoundHound? I watch your earnings coverage, future thoughts. Yeah, could take a look at SoundHound for sure. So before I get into any of the questions that you guys might have, which we'll address in just a few moments, I did want to address what's going on in a geopolitical sense. So we take a look at the SPY today, and you can see that it was super volatile. Most pundits on mainstream media talking about the current volatility today had a lot to do with what happened over the Black Sea. So if you guys didn't catch the news, U.S. European Command on Tuesday said that 2 Russian fighter jets had collided. I don't know how that makes any sense. I would think only one of the jets would have collided with the U.S. drone over the Black Sea. This is according to Seeking Alpha. The collision happened between 2 Russian Su-27 aircraft and U.S. Air Force intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance unmanned MQ-9 aircraft, which similar to the shadows that I made. At approximately 7:03, one of the Russian Su-27 aircraft struck a propeller of the MQ-9, causing U.S. forces to have to bring the MQ-9 down in international waters. That was according to U.S. European Command, who said that in a statement. Several times before the collision, the SUs dumped fuel on and flew in front of the MQ-9 in a reckless, environmentally unsound, and unprofessional manner, according to the statement. Defense-related stocks, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics, and all the other ones had some movement today, but this is your SPY. You can see that there's some movement down on some of that news and then a huge move back up. To me, if you guys are worried about this, I don't think that there's much to worry about. In my opinion, I think it's a big-ass nothing burger. I think it is. It's just news. Like the Russians aren't going to give a shit, and neither is the U.S. This is a nothing burger, in my opinion. Like, whatever. It was two fighters from Russia that were probably dicking around, and that was it. This isn't something that's going to escalate, in my opinion. And no, I'm not a military expert, but in the grand scheme of things, there have been a lot worse things that have happened between the U.S. and Russia that probably should have warranted a lot more action, and it didn't happen. So I would be surprised if something like this happened as a result, like anything escalated from here. I think that would be stupid. Your defense stocks, if you are curious, Lockheed Martin, ticker symbol LMT. You can see how volatile that was today. Good Lord. General Dynamics. GD is that ticker symbol. Not a whole lot of movement there. Looks like pretty much the SPY today. RTX is Raytheon. And those are your major ones. There's a few. There's tons of other defense stocks, but those are your major ones. You could go to Textron. I actually used to work for Textron back in the day. Boeing, of course. Aerojet. Rocketdyne. There's so many of them. So those are your defense stocks if you actually wanted to go towards those. I put out a video about a year ago about all of these and when Russia invaded Ukraine. So if you want to take a look at those, cool, have at it. But I don't think that there's much to really worry about here, in my opinion. This is your SPY. Let's talk about it a little bit, because if you guys didn't tune in this morning, I wanted to cover CPI just very briefly as well. So you guys may have seen CPI data today and wondered to yourself why the market did what it did today. Should I be worried about CPI? It came in line with expectations. So if you guys didn't see the CPI report, there was a 6% year-over-year inflation, which is the slowest that we have seen since 2021. So that was good news, if you want to call it that. It's still lots. Inflation still wreaking havoc, but it slowed the most it has since 2021. So that was good news. That's why stocks started to move a little bit. And I had mentioned that one of the big reasons why one of the sectors that I would go towards was tech stocks, tech and Bitcoin in particular. I think those would be areas that I would go for. So we look at Meta today. Now, Meta had two things going for it. Obviously, CPI data was one, and then today they announced 11,000 jobs that they were going to be cutting, an additional 11,000 jobs they were going to be cutting, and 5,000 job openings that they were going to be removing. So that stock went up 7.25%. Don, who's watching right now, and myself have been banging the drum on Meta platforms, and there was a lot of people out there that gave us shit about Meta platforms, but you can't deny this move. From all the way down here, October 28th, sitting at $88, and now it closed today at $194. I think, to me, on the weekly chart, this is a bullish flag pattern. I think that we broke over a pretty decent resistance. Now, this is the weekly chart, so we'll see how the rest of the week plays out. But if this holds over here, I think there's a lot of momentum behind Meta. And if more and more investors, and Wall Street in particular, buy into the fact that the Fed could pause here as far as rate hikes are concerned, then Meta is going to continue to do extremely well, in my opinion. And then we take a look at Alphabet. That also had a decent day. That was up 3%. I think that these two out of the big FANG stocks are the ones to go after. But let's not forget about small caps. So we take a look at IWM as well. IWM, the Russell 2000 ETF, has a lot of small cap tech stocks within it. As far as small cap tech is concerned, I would look at something like a CrowdStrike. We already saw that they had ridiculous earnings this time around. It's fallen back into that ascending channel. This looks perfect. It is nice and organized. Love this move on CrowdStrike. Cybersecurity isn't going anywhere. And as we saw from their last earnings, they're growing 60% year over year. It's absolutely insane. SoFi would be another one that I would check out. SoFi is not going to be as much of a solid pick, but if you want a little bit of risk, I think SoFi certainly plays into that factor. They were a big, I don't want to say supporter, but they had a relationship. They had money in with SVB, which caused the stock to move down a ton. I think that now this is kind of behind us. SoFi looks like a pretty decent buy here. It's also a bit undervalued if you're asking my opinion. So I think SoFi could be something to take a look at. But a lot of these smaller caps tech stocks that have good fundamentals, I think that have been beaten down and haven't really fully come back, could make very strong moves, especially if the Fed pauses rate hikes. If the Fed comes in next week, says, hey, you know what, we're going to pause rate hikes, we're going to just take a look around and assess the environment, assess the economy, see how we're doing, then tech and growth is going to go nuts. Everybody's going to abandon all the value stocks, your Cokes, your Johnson & Johnsons. All those are going to be left to the wayside. Even the healthcare stocks might not do well. We'll see. And they're going to start gravitating towards FANG again. Microsoft, all those guys are going to do well, in my opinion. I think so. So just based off of CPI numbers and what we could expect from the Fed, those are the areas that I would consider going into. Would love to get your guys' thoughts on that. Of course, the banks did really well today. First Republic was on absolute fire. Where did that land today? Where did that end up? It ended up today 27%. At one point, it was up like 60%. That was crazy. Joe T says, I thought markets crash after Fed pivots after a bubble. Fed pivot means that they broke something. No. Historically, markets actually go up during rate hikes. But I don't know where you're getting that information, Joe T. Would love to get some, send me a link or something. You can shoot me a DM, send me a link of where you found that at. Would love to see where that is historically. But to my knowledge, that I'm not quite sure about that. Reading back some of the comments here. People are loving the rant. That's hilarious. Yeah, man. Listen, I'm so over it because I haven't liked AMC from day one, and I was like, make your money, get out. And even when I said that, people gave me shit. And so I try not to have I told you so moments, but sometimes you just gotta. And I'm just so unbelievable that people would vote this in favor of this and that people are excited about it. You guys have no clue. Lord Fender says theaters are a dying breed. Why go pay $50 for popcorn when I can just watch my 75-inch and pause when the kiddos need to pee? Technology moves on. Bro, 100%. I mean, I think theaters at this point are going to be nostalgia, and that's it, right? Just like the drive-in theater. Nobody goes to drive-in movies anymore unless you just want to do it for fun, and it's not really something you do all the time, right? Adam Aaron is a burger shy of a Happy Meal. Yeah, no shit. My opinion has never changed on AMC. No, it hasn't. Ever. Ever. This is great. You guys are awesome. Meta looks like Netflix minus the drop. Yeah, Netflix has had a hell of a 6 months for sure. Timo KRZ said these big Meta bags I'm holding at 200 are feeling much lighter now, as they should. I think Meta is going to continue to move. Some people ask too, why is it that we'll go to the Meta stock here? We can take a look at this. People ask a lot, why is it that stocks go up when there's massive layoffs announced? And it's all about efficiency and it's all about the balance sheet. If you can remove 10,000 employees at $100,000 a year, that's $10 billion that you're freeing up right now. And if you're able to operate with the same amount of efficiency, investors reward that. Savvy Money Show says theaters were outdated in my day. But at least you used them to get laid. Now there is Tinder. Yeah, there's Tinder and people that are afraid to even meet each other face to face. Don says, when they pivot, markets get red historically every time, or 99% of it, but I would still take it case by case, just cross the bearish bridge when we get there. So I don't think that this would be a pivot. I think it would be a pivot if it, and feel free to argue with me on this, because I want to truly have this discussion. Am I wrong in saying that a pause is a pivot? Or would a cut actually be considered a pivot? Right? Because this entire time, Jerome Powell has said, all the way up to last week, we're going to watch the data. We're going to watch the data. We're going to see what comes in and make decisions based on that data. Right? And that's what they've been doing, whether it's right or wrong or you disagree with it. If they came in next week and said, we fucked up, we're gonna start cutting rates starting today, that's a pivot. And I think that could create some extreme uncertainty in the market for sure. But if they pause, I'm not entirely sure that would be considered a pivot by most. But you guys let me know. Because I think at the dovish that the Fed's going to be, in my opinion, next week, is that they will pause. The most hawkish that I could see them being next week is that they raise it 25 basis points and keep kicking the can down the road and say, hey, guys, this was a one-off. You know, the bank closure was because of poor management, not because of rate hikes. Yeah, rate hikes was a byproduct of that, and it certainly caused some shit, but it wasn't because of us. It was because banks weren't paying attention, right? So that's my perception of what I would consider the Fed pivoting, and why I think that, you know, I still remain bullish on the year. Of course, I'm a little less confident because of this. If we go to the weekly chart on the SPY, you know, last week certainly gave me some pause. This is your weekly chart. Oh, sorry, that's monthly. This is your weekly chart on the SPY, and breaking down below this and showing lower lows has given me pause. I still think that there's strong possibility that the S&P 500 ends very firmly in the green, and I still stand by that 15 to 20% gains throughout the year. Again, we have another 9 months to go before the end of the year hits. But this has certainly given me some pause. For sure. Calling a pause a pivot is like calling an hourly red candle a crash. Agreed. I think so. Joel Cazares says, is it Cazares? Cazares? Believes Buffett tweeted he wanted to slap AMC fans. Probably. Shock City Rocker said, I bought AMC once at $5 and was the morning it went from 5 to 25 in pre-market. Made a ton of money and got the hell out forever. Bro, yes. And that's what you should have done. Like, that's what I was actually telling people. I was like, I was celebrating with people that made money on this thing. And I was just like, take it. Like, you won, right? Like, you actually won. Good job. And then as soon as I said that, I was like receiving death threats. Like, it was crazy. It's like, what are we talking about here? You guys stuck it to the man. You literally did. What was it? Oh, shit. Marvin Capital? Didn't they go under because of they got screwed on GameStop and AMC? Like, you guys won, technically. Like, just take your money, man. Roll out. There were some unrealized millionaires that are now kicking themselves, which is crazy. Melvin Capital. Thank you. Melvin Capital. Thank you. Yeah. Melvin. I thought it was Marvin or Melvin, one of them. But yeah, man, I mean, that's how it should be done. Doesn't Amazon have some sort of stake or dealings with AMC? I don't know. If they do, it's probably not significant. Don says sucks to suck. Yeah. Snooker said, hell yeah, midnight movies were the bomb. I saw the song what? Remens? The same time at least 7 times in the early 80s. I mean, I used to love going to movies, especially like the IMAX. I watched Deep Impact at the IMAX when I was a kid. It was a great movie. Man. Checking back in with the poll. Free agency is on fire right now in the NFL. Are you happy with your team so far? 40% say yes. This got a mixed bag here. 38% say no. 23% said I don't want to talk about it. I want to hear from the people that say I don't want to talk about it. Like, are you a Raiders fan? Are you a Browns fan? Are you a Carolina fan that just saw your team give up a shit ton of picks for 1 overall? IMAX is its own company. Yeah, I know that. I was just saying in general, like I remember going to IMAX. Like IMAX was the shit. It wasn't where I grew up, AMCs weren't a thing. Like AMC wasn't really prevalent in Maryland. It was like the Regal cinemas, that was a big thing, and then like IMAX. That was what was around for the most part. But yeah, let me hear from the people that don't want to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Or if you're not happy. If you are happy, screw it. If you're happy about your team, tell me why. If you're not, tell me why. I know Savvy Money Shows doesn't have any skin in this game because he's from across the pond. So unless you are an NFL fan from across the pond, there's a lot of those. But for most, it's only one kind of football. But he says the only time I went was when I had a special. They let me in it, and Mrs. gave you free movie tickets. Also, my local did. Wow, nice. That's cool. Rocky Horror Picture Show. I hate that movie. People probably chastise me, but I hate that movie. Never cared enough, and oh yeah. Me and my dad used to go to movies all the time. Did you hear that Barney Frank was on the board of one of the failed banks? No, I did not. 1D Lee. Wasn't they on? He was on. Was it the New York bank that got shut down? Yeah, I know. Savvy Money Show. I figured you were going to say that. You too, Snookeroo. See you tomorrow morning. And guys, yeah, if you are new to the channel, hopefully I earned a subscription. I know that we're kind of dicking around right now, but there's not a whole lot. I mean, I said what I needed to say. And so I'm still trying to create these creative bits, and we're just going to figure it out as we go. I want to get to an hour-long show in the morning and in the afternoon and kind of figure out what we want to do. Like, let's just have some fun and, like, see where it goes, right? You know, this is a slow period. You guys are used to me covering earnings, and there isn't a whole lot of earnings happening. Sentinel-1 reported today, which I think I saw somebody asking about, actually, now that I overlooked you. Sorry I ignored you, whoever was asking about that, but we can look at Sentinel-1. There's Sentinel-1. Stock's down 3.25%. Probably not great on those earnings. I'll pull those up in a second, but there's your Sentinel-1. Let's go Lions, Ivan Broski. Yeah, bro. Lions, I think, are going to be good. I think Lions are going to be good. Not going to lie. But the Bears just got really good too, Ivan Broski. It would figure, right? As soon as the Lions start to get good, Aaron Rodgers is out. Everybody's rejoicing. And then the Bears just pull off one of the greatest trades, I think, so far in this offseason. Sorry, man. I don't think Jared Goff is that dude, but we'll see. Thanks for your input on that, Lord Fenrir. I think that was general consensus among all of us on a pivot versus a hold. Miami Dolphins Joe T says Miami Dolphins got Jalen Ramsey, was happy with that. The Dolphins, if Tua can stay healthy, the Dolphins are going to be a problem. A problem. I mean, listen, the Bills are great, but the Dolphins are going to be a problem. I think that Joe T would agree with that. Or no, Ivan Broski would agree with that. Bengals better change their names to Tigers if the Bears and Lions are going to be good. Yeah. Dolphins are going to suck. They are not going to suck. They didn't suck last year. and they got better now with Jalen Ramsey. Dolphins can't get past the Bills. I don't know about that, man. I really don't. Let's take a look at Sentinel-1. So Sentinel-1, if you guys are curious, doesn't look like they did well, but we can take a look at it. Let's see if Seeking Alpha does have them. So Sentinel-1 came in a loss of 13 cents. They beat by 3 cents. Revenue of 126.09 million. They beat that as well. Looks as if perhaps guidance was a factor. So they actually grew 92.2% year over year. God damn. Annualized recurring revenue increased 88% to 548.7 million as of January 31st. Total customer count grew by 50% to over 10,000 customers as of January 23. Customers with annual recurring revenue of 100 grand grew 74% to 905 as of January. Jesus. Bro, this stock's down 5%. What happened? Dollar-based net revenue retention rate remained above 130%. Q1 outlook. Here we go. That's not even, I mean, it's not bad. Here are the numbers for Q1 outlook. Revenue of 137 versus consensus of 136.5. So that's a beat, technically. And that's probably conservative from Sentinel-1's standpoint because, I mean, hello, the growth is ridiculous. Non-GAAP gross margin, 73.5%. Non-GAAP operating margin, 41%. All good stuff. Fiscal year outlook, revenue is expected to come in 631 to 640. The consensus, here it is, of 651. Non-GAAP, all right. The reason that they sold off was because of the fiscal year outlook on revenue. So revenue guidance was expected to come in at 631 versus 640 versus consensus of 651. I'm not going to tell you what you have to do, but this is a buy the dip bullshit reason to sell. Like, I would be, if I felt strongly about Sentinel-1, I would be buying off of this news. See what happens tomorrow after the opening. But they guided $10 million off for the full year compared to what was expected. And you look at the growth numbers here, I don't know. I'd have a hard time being like, yeah, I'm done with Sentinel-1. That's for sure. What's up, Jay Chocolate? Not much. We're talking football. If they boot Tyreek Hill, they're not booting Tyreek Hill. They got Waddle on one side. They got Hill on the other. They just re-signed Raheem Mostert. I mean, is it Mostert? Mostert? I don't know. Mustard. I'm going to be in Olathe the end of August. Any good restaurant recommendations? I don't know. Don't know the area, but if anybody knows, hit up Lord Fenrir. Also, let's do a roll call. Where you guys watching from? Put it in the chat. Sorry, you Raiders fans, by the way. Like, you get rid of Derek Carr to bring on Garoppolo, and then you get rid of Darren Waller for a second rounder, I think, or fourth rounder, something crazy like that. Like, what are the Raiders doing? What is Josh McDaniels doing? Kansas City Joes. There you go, Lord Fenrir. Kansas City Joes. San Jose, Phoenix, Harrington. Oh, what's up, Bob? Bob King. Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. Checking in some other news. We talked about Meta. Talked about the air show between the U.S. and Russia. Not a big deal. And I went on a rant about AMC. I think that's it for today's news. But again, like I said, I'm going to continue to evolve this into whatever. SoundHound. Thank you, Dynamic. Appreciate the reminder. Let's take a look at SoundHound. So SoundHound, if I recall, smashed earnings, right? SoundHound smashed earnings. I mean, absolutely obliterated it. By the way, if you guys want to show us support, you guys see Don in the chat, and obviously myself here. You came to watch me, so I appreciate allowing me to be a part of your afternoon. You certainly didn't have to. Sometimes it's a shit show, and you hang out anyway. And so for that, I thank you. But if you want to support us even more with really little cost to you, go check us out at patreon.com/ownthechaos. You get my Stock Watch Sunday list, exclusive content. You get Don's growth account trade alerts. You get all kinds of stuff. Not only that, but you also get access to our Discord. All that can be found at patreon.com/ownthechaos. And it starts at $5. I mean, you can't beat that anywhere. Not for the value that we provide. And you get 2 for the price of 1, essentially. You get myself and Don. So go check us out over at patreon.com/ownthechaos. The links are in the description. We'd love to have you guys over there at Patreon, just to help support us that way. And it allows me to keep doing what I'm doing. Allows me to keep going. So appreciate you guys for going to check us out there. Getting back to SoundHound. So SoundHound AI play actually didn't do well since their earnings. I thought they had good earnings. No? I thought when I covered this, their earnings were actually quite good. Maybe it just moved down as a result of the entire market moving down. Could be a possibility, but the stock was down 8% today while the S&P was up quite a bit. Let's take a look and see what's happening here. So there's news that came out on the 9th, which was my birthday. U.S. Chamber of Commerce laid out a report which it calls for regulation of AI. Maybe that's what's bringing the stock down. I mean, ever since then, it's not been doing well. If we take a look at the 9th, so here is March 8th. And so you can see since then, it hasn't been pretty. Look, SoundHound, it's $1.91. It's down here for a reason. I'm not saying that you can't buy it, but it's risky, right? I mean, it's a penny stock at the end of the day. But the growth is ridiculous. Last time around, they announced growth of 46, almost 47%. Valuation is really kind of yet to be determined because they're not making any money yet, and that's the big conundrum. That's the big what if. Last time around, they came in and beat earnings by just a little bit. But then also beat revenue by $500,000. So that was pretty good. The valuation here is $416 million. To me, with the kind of money that they're bringing in, that seems cheap. But you just never know. With that regulation, with Chamber of Commerce coming down and laying the smack down on that, where'd AI go? Did AI move down with this? C3 AI? Yeah, it did. So depending on your time horizon, I think you got to be patient with these types of stocks because AI is the latest and greatest, right? So it's always going to be volatile, especially when the government comes in. If you have money to spare that you can afford to lose, either one of these seem to be viable options based off the growth and where the entire industry is going, right? These 2 companies in particular are slightly ahead of the curve. With other competition coming in fast, quick, fast, and hurry. Obviously, Microsoft has OpenAI, but that doesn't mean that neither one of these stocks could get bought out. So just consider that as well as a possibility for any of the AI plays. But, you know, anytime the government steps in, it always ends up creating a sell-off. You got it, Dynamic Crypto. Ivan Broska says, hoping Jameson Williams is fully healthy and good to go for the Lions this year. Yeah, he's going to have to be, I think, for the Lions to be contenders. Woodfinger says, my oldest is going to be in his first strongman competition. God damn. No way. That's awesome. Got to get some meat. Got to get some meat to there. Yeah, that's what she said. Don says if they spent that and followed, they'd be up enough to pay the year on Microsoft and Meta. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Don talking about the Patreon. Patrick Higgins asks, do I like Disney or Amazon better? Ooh, that's a really tough question. I like them both. Gun to my head, I'm going Disney. Probably not a popular opinion, but I would be going Disney. All right, guys. Listen, it was a light day. I appreciate you hanging out. I know it was a little bit more informal. We're just kind of shooting the shit. Do you like this? Is there the issue is that we can have fun together like this, and I'm fine with that. But I got to give it structure. I got to figure that out, and then I got to get more people to actually like it. That's the issue, right? We need people to, and the only way we grow is if you share it. Dynamic Crypto. If you love it, share it. Share the shit out of this. Get people coming back to Own the Chaos, and we can do this all the time if you want. We can mix finance into having a little fun, and maybe it turns into something. Usually when that happens, when you start building communities like that, there's always some sort of like ism that comes out of it that like just sticks, that the community just loves, right? Like I remember way back in the day when I first started Own the Chaos, I used to have when I was right, when I was wrong. Do you guys remember that? When Brad was right. I'd have like 5 picks that I would say if I got right or wrong throughout that week, right? And that was always fun or whatever. Like I think that we could do that. So again, please give me some feedback. Would love to get your thoughts on that. Let me know, guys. I love every single one of you. I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern time. Hit that notification bell to get notified when I go live. And that'll do it for today. Love you all. Have a great night.